Eggplant, eggplant, and eggplant once again. What's up, 23% Nation? This is your man, Coach D. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to welcome you to Fruit of the Day, the one and only eggplant. So, maybe you've never heard of it, maybe you've never seen it, maybe you've never tasted it, or maybe you love them. Whatever the case may be, please listen on. Why? Because we're about to dive just a little deeper into the wonderful world of the eggplant. All right, first up, just a little bit of background information. Believe it or not, an eggplant is not a vegetable. Actually, it's a fruit. Now, how do we know it's a fruit? Well, number one, it has seeds. Number two, it has flesh around the seeds, which is edible. So, whenever you have a plant food that has edible flesh and seeds, more than likely, it's probably a fruit, not a vegetable. Also, the eggplant originates from two different countries, India and China. So, if you ever wondered where eggplants come from, now you know. Also, eggplant is known by a few different names around the world, but it is most commonly referred to as aubergine. That's right, guys. Aubergine is another word for eggplant. So if you ever stumble into a restaurant and they have aubergine on the menu, then you know they're talking about eggplant. Did you know that the peak season for eggplants are August through October? That's right. So we're talking about late summer, early fall. So if you want to know when is the best time to purchase eggplants at the most cost-effective price, then you probably should purchase it anytime between the months of August through October. Last but not least, eggplants belong to the nightshade family of plants, including tomatoes, sweet red peppers, and potatoes. That's right. So believe it or not, the eggplant is a cousin to other plant foods such as tomatoes, red sweet peppers, and potatoes. So there we have it, guys. Just a few background information tips about the one and only aubergine. All right, now it's time for a few fun facts. When it comes to purchasing organic versus non-organic eggplant, luckily, eggplant makes the list for the clean 15. That's right, guys, the clean 15 fruits, meaning they are less likely to be sprayed with a high amount of pesticides. Now, of course, that's always good for the body, right? Fewer toxins, more nutrients. Next up, the health benefits of eggplant nutrition seem to be consistent across the different types, with the exception of the variety known as black magic eggplants. That's right. You probably didn't know that there's a special type of eggplant that's called the black magic one. Now, here's something rather interesting about black magic eggplants. This strand is known to have the highest concentration of certain phytonutrients and may offer additional antioxidant properties than the other types of eggplant. So, if you are looking to get the most nutritious type of eggplant, then please do your research and make sure that your farmer's market or your local grocery store carries the black magic type. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, a few fun facts about the one and only eggplant. All right, now it's time to dive into the not so fun facts. The eggplant is known for causing digestive disturbances. So maybe you've eaten an eggplant and maybe you develop a little bit of gastrointestinal problem, right? You may be experiencing some type of allergic reaction. So if that's the case, you have two options. Either you can reduce your consumption of eggplants or you can totally stop eating them altogether. Next up, the eggplant unfortunately is high in oxalic acid, which is known to be correlated with an increased risk of forming kidney stones as well as arthritis. So, if you have a history of kidney stones and a history of arthritis, right, then you probably want to either reduce your consumption of eggplants or totally leave them alone. Believe it or not, guys, it's okay not to eat an eggplant. So there we have it, a few not so fun facts about eggplants. All right, it's time to dive into the 520 rule. Ladies and gentlemen, the 520 rule is all about food labels. Yes, food labels. As a matter of fact, it's a guide. It's a guide that lets you know whether or not a food item is a good source or not a good source of any particular nutrient. Now, specifically when we talk about the 520 rule, ultimately we're talking about percent daily value, abbreviated percent DV. Now, let's take a look at our sample food label. As you can see, some parts are highlighted in purple, some parts are highlighted in yellow, and some parts are highlighted in blue. So let's talk about each part separately. First up, let's talk about the percent daily value column. Notice that it is shown in percentages, 0% all the way through 100%. So basically that means a scale is involved. So we have some nutrients that are on the higher end of the scale, and then we have other nutrients that are on the lower end of the scale. Now let's take a look at the nutrients that are highlighted in yellow. Total fat, saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, and sodium. Now, when it comes to these nutrients, unfortunately, they do a really good job at promoting disease within the body tempo. So if anything, you want to make sure that the percentages of those particular nutrients are on the lower end of the scale. However, when we talk about the nutrients that are highlighted in blue, such as dietary fiber, vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and iron, which basically represent all vitamins and minerals, then you want to make sure that those nutrients are on the higher end of the scale. Right? Perfect. Why? Because rather than promote disease, they promote wellness and health within the body temple. Now, let's dive into some specifics. If a food item offers anywhere from 0% to 9% DV of any particular nutrient, then that food item is not a good source of that nutrient. Next up, if the food item offers 10% to 19% DV of any particular nutrient, then that food item is a good source of that nutrient. Lastly, if the food item offers 20% DV or greater, then that food item is said to be an excellent source of that particular nutrient. So there we have it, guys. The ins and outs about the 520 rule. All right, now it's time for a few nutrition facts. For today's lecture, we're going to simply say that a single serving of eggplant is equivalent to 1 cup of cooked eggplant. Now, here's what we're going to get once we eat this 1 cup of cooked eggplant. You're going to get about 35 calories, not a whole lot, 5 grams of fiber, 3 grams of sugar, 1 gram of protein. Guess what? No fat. How nice. 8 grams of carbs. Now, when we talk about the vitamins and minerals, unfortunately, the eggplant is not a good source of vitamins and minerals, but let's go through them individually. First up is manganese, only providing 6% DV. So according to the 520 rule, this 1 cup of cooked eggplant is not a good source of manganese. Next up is vitamin K, coming in at only 4%, not a good source. Then we have thiamine, coming in at only 4% DV, not a good source. Next up is vitamin B6, coming in at only 4% DV. So once again, this 1 cup of cooked eggplant is not a good source of vitamin B6. Then we have folate, magnesium, potassium, and copper, all coming in at only 3% DV. So unfortunately, this single cup of cooked eggplant is not a good source of folate, magnesium, potassium, or copper. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, a few nutrition facts about the one and only aubergine. All right, now it's time to dive into the health benefits. Now, before we do, Coach D wants to drop a few wisdom dimes on you. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to introduce to you the principle of cause and effect, which as some people already know, is one of the 7 Hermetic principles. Now, the principle of cause and effect is very interesting. Why? Because it simply means that every cause has its effect and every effect has its cause. Really, there is no such thing as luck and or chance, which basically means that everything happens for a reason, right? So what does this translate to? What it simply means is that if you want to promote wellness and health within your body, well then guess what? You gotta cause it to happen. Now on the flip side, it's the same for disease. If you want disease, you gotta cause it to happen. But let's focus on health. Let's focus on wellness, right? So when we eat eggplant, this is what's going to happen. Number one, it helps protect against cancer. Now that's amazing. Now, you know Coach D is very big on phytonutrients, right? So luckily, the eggplant contains 2 amazing phytonutrients that are directly responsible for protecting the body against cancer. So today I want to introduce to you nasunin, or we can pronounce it nasunin, as well as chlorogenic acid. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the 2 phytonutrients in eggplants that ultimately protect the body against cancer. Next up, eggplants, they help lower high cholesterol. They help improve digestive health. Now, what's responsible for that? Well, praise the Lord for fiber and water. Also, it contributes to a healthy bone structure. Now, earlier we said that eggplants have manganese, right? Well, believe it or not, that's what manganese does in the body, right? It helps to make sure you have healthy bones. Also, eggplants maintain energy levels. That's right. Now, which phytonutrients are responsible for that? Well, say hello to your B vitamins. By the way, did you know that there are 8 B vitamins? That's right, guys. B vitamin 1 all the way through B vitamin number 8. And lastly, eggplants can help prevent skin cancer. Now, isn't that nice? So, going back to the principle of cause and effect, here's what you got to understand. That the effects are the health benefits and the nutrients are the causes. So in other words, if you want to experience improved digestive health, you want to prevent cancer, you want to have healthy bones, you want to have high energy levels, well, it's time to eat more eggplants. Very simple. All right, now it's time to talk about food, but specifically vegan food. Guys, say hello to forksoverknives.com. And if you haven't seen it, please watch the movie. It's called Forks Over Knives. Now, as usual, I went to the website, did just a little bit of research, and look at what I found. 2 amazing vegan eggplant recipes that I definitely want to share with you today. So the first one is Parmesan yellow split pea and eggplant stew. I'm sorry, not Parmesan, but Persian. My bad. Persian yellow split pea and eggplant stew. Take a look at the picture. Looks delicious. Now, our second vegan eggplant recipe is entitled Eggplant Rollatini. Interesting. Take a look at that picture. Looks delicious. Yes. So, if you are inclined to make and taste either one of these dishes, then all you have to do is click on the description box. That's right. I am providing you with a direct link to each recipe. Now, when you get there, you're going to find a lot of different information. You're going to find an ingredient list. You're going to find instructions. Plus, it's going to provide you with the cooking time. That's right. So in other words, you'll know exactly how long you'll need to slave in the kitchen. So there we have it, guys. Not 1, but 2 amazing vegan eggplant dishes from forksoverknives.com. All right, 23% Nation, I hear you. A lot of you say, well, Coach D, I really appreciate the background information. Coach D, thanks for the fun facts and the not so fun facts. Coach D, thank you for introducing me to the 520 rule. But what I really want to know is, when should I eat more eggplant? That's what I really want to know, Coach D. All right, guys, I'll tell you something. The perfect day, and I do mean the perfect day to eat more eggplant is Nature Day. What? Nature Day? Yes, Nature Day. Now, Nature Day happens to be the first day of the 23% challenge. Now, you may not know anything about the challenge, and that's okay. I'm here to help clear things up. Guys, the 23% challenge is a monthly 7-day wellness program that is designed to help improve your health, your wealth, and your relationships, believe it or not. Now, here's the interesting thing about the 23% challenge is that it's the first 7 days of every single month. That's right, the first all the way through the 7th. Now, here's the interesting part is that Nature Day happens to be the first day of the challenge, which simply means that Nature Day is the first day of every single month. So, whether it's October 1st, November 1st, or December 1st, it's always Nature Day. All right, so perhaps you are interested in Nature Day. Maybe you want to know more information, right? Well, in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, Nature Day is all about getting closer to nature. Now, yes, there are lots of things you can do to get closer to nature. You can go take a swim in a lake. You can go skinny dipping in the ocean. Or how about you go to a petting zoo? Or how about you go adopt a pet? Or play with your own pet, right? Or take a nature walk. But for the 23% challenge, Nature Day is all about getting closer to nature by simply eating it. That's right, guys. It's time to eat more plants. Now, maybe you're the type of person who is considering transitioning to a more whole food plant-based diet. Or maybe you're looking to lose a little bit of weight. Or maybe you've heard that it's a good thing to eat more plants. Well, if that's you, then Coach D wants to offer you 3 avenues that I believe can definitely help you out. First up is to try to become a 3% vegan. That's right, guys, a 3% vegan. Now, what is that? Well, it's anyone, man, woman, or child, who only eats plant foods and drinks only water only 1 day out of an entire month. That's right, guys, 1 day. Next up is a 13% vegan. Now, a 13% vegan is anyone, man, woman, or child, who only eats plant foods and drinks only water only 4 days out of an entire month. Now, there are a few ways in which you can do this. It could be the first 4 days of the month, or providing the month has 4 weeks in it, you could pick 1 day per week, right? And then lastly, we have a 23% vegan, which technically is what Coach D is. Now, what is a 23% vegan? It's easy. A 23% vegan is anyone, man, woman, or child, who only eats plant foods and drinks only water the first 7 days of every single month. So, what do I eat? It's very simple. I only eat foods, specifically plant foods, that come from the 5 food groups of plant foods. So the question is, what are those? All fruits, all vegetables and herbs, all legumes, meaning beans and peas, all whole grains, right? And we cannot forget about good old nuts and seeds. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the ins and outs about Nature Day. All right, now, if you want to partake in Nature Day, then not only do I commend you, but I also want to offer you a little bit of help. Why? Because I want your Nature Day to be successful. So here are a few of Coach D's tips for Nature Day. Number 1, go to your local grocery store. Now, this trip to the grocery store is probably going to be like any other that you've ever had, okay? Because for this trip, you're only going to go to 2 places. Number 1, you're going to hang out in the produce section, Why? Because that's where all fresh plant foods are located. And number two, go on over to the grocer's freezer aisle. Why? Because that's where your frozen plant foods are going to be located, right? So whether you want to go fresh or frozen, believe it or not, the nutrient contents are comparable. Next up, go visit your local farmer's market. That's right, guys. Farmers markets are amazing. Why? Well, because they do have a lot of advantages over your local grocery store. Number one, the food is organic. That's right. So what does that mean? Fewer pesticides, fewer herbicides, and fewer chemicals. So that's always a good thing. Number two, the food is grown locally. That's right. We're talking about local farmers providing produce for their community, which means less transportation time, which means the savings is passed on from the farmer to the store, then to you, meaning the end consumer. My third tip is to go to the prepared dishes section of your local grocery store. Now, after you visit the produce section, after you visit the freezer aisle, right, walk on over to the prepared dishes section of your grocery store. Now, it may be termed the kitchen, right? Well, here is where they have cooked plant foods. All right. So you want to go over there, talk to the person behind the counter and ask them if they have any vegan options. Hopefully they do. Now, if they have something that you've never heard of or tasted before, just simply ask for a quick sample. They'll give it to you for free, of course. Taste it, hopefully you like it, and then purchase it by the pound or maybe even 2 pounds. And my last tip for you is to go visit a vegan restaurant. That's right, guys. It's time for us to support the vegan community. So go eat at a vegan restaurant. Now, you may not even know that vegan restaurants exist. I'm here to let you know that they do. And in order to find one, all you have to do is go to Google. Type in vegan restaurants near me, and within less than half of a second, Google will give you your desired results. Now, if you decide to go, do two things. Number one, let them know that Coach D sent you. And number two, be sure to order something with eggplants in it. By the way, the reason why vegan restaurants are amazing is because, number one, they hire vegan chefs who know how to cook plant foods to give you the most delicious, nutritious options. And number two, they know how to combine different types of plant foods so that the nutrition profile is doubled, if not tripled, maybe even quadrupled, right? So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Not one, not two, not three, but 4 amazing tips to help make your nature day successful. All right, it's time for our question of the day, which comes from yours truly and the rest of the 23% nation. We have inquiry minds, so we want to know which variety of eggplant is known to be the most nutritious. Now, I believe I covered that earlier in the video, so if you don't remember it, just simply rewind and the answer will be waiting on you. Well, guys, I want to thank you for watching, and I definitely want to thank you for listening. As always, let's eat well, feel well, think well, do well, be well. This is your man, Coach D. Now, before I sign out, I got to ask you to please subscribe, like, and share the video, especially if you love aubergine. That's right. And please don't forget to use our 3-word mantra. It's hashtag eat more plants. As stated earlier, my name is Coach D. I'm signing out. So always remember to take care, God bless, and never ever forget that Coach D loves you.